It's only in the world of Twitter can that type of argumentation gain any traction. Welcome to Social Studies. This is Wretched Radio. Jimmy, you believe because you happen to have some Gen Zs living in your home, which means you bump into them. You go to school, you meet them, perhaps friends, neighbors. So when I was scratching my head wondering what does it mean that Gen Zers embrace failure, I couldn't get that. But you say you've observed that.
I have observed that. I have witnessed, when bad grades come home, instead of, motivating, that being a motivation to do better next time, it's always, I tried my best.
And that's enough, and you let it go.
No, I don't let it go.
No,
but
Gen Zers do.
Yeah, they do. I'll try my best. I'll try again next time.
Well, this might be interesting because I happen to hold in my never-before nicotine-stained fingers an article written by Carl Trueman, which means it was hard because he's a really smart guy. And now this is social studies speculation, which frankly is what most social studies are. A society ashamed of shame. They just reject it. And as we observe our Romans 1 culture, what is one of the curbs that God puts in place to keep people from behaving like Lord of the Flies inhabitants? And that is shame. Feeling like, oh, I don't want society to think this about me. I don't want my family to have this opinion of me. I'm going to try harder, do better, behave righter. But maybe there's a connection here with Gen Zers embracing failure because typically, historically, different generations, failure was unacceptable. You don't fail. Getting an F was horrifying for me. I mean, yikes. If I have to bring that home, this is going to be the end of the world as I know it. But maybe not so much these days because Carl Trueman is onto something. Let's see what Dr. Trueman had to say. Adidas is the subject of the article on shame with a new ad campaign for a new sports bra. And the way that they're promoting this features pictures of 25 women that have nothing on up top. That's the ad campaign. Clever, Adidas. So glad that you're trying to empower women while you go about the business of using them to sell your product. At any rate, the irony aside, let's hope I can find a better way to describe this moving forward. This is Carl Trueman, a sports clothing company cannot rest content with doing what it has always done, selling sports clothing. It has to teach the rest of us how to think about life. Adidas declared in a Twitter exchange, because apparently that's the superhighway of information, is the Twitter land, declared that this part of a woman's body are a natural part of the anatomy. No, you don't. Really? That's stunning. I never knew that. Of course it's a natural part of their anatomy. So's their elbow. It's connected to their body. It's usually a natural part of their body. Nevertheless, it's time to remove the stigma to allow future generations to flourish. Okay, you say flourish. I say be used and oppressed. But hey, whatever your word choice happens to be, isn't it fascinating that we see a tennis shoe company, a sporting goods company, lecturing, moralizing? It's not their business anymore to just do business. It's their business to get in your business and change the way you think. And they are trying to go after something very fundamental, and that is clothing, the very product that they sell. I mean, so why would anybody need a sports bra if we're going to be genuinely au natural or any of your Adidas clothing? There's no point to it, but they use it to sell their product and to undermine biblical concepts. Shame is squarely front and center in the Bible. Adam and Eve, they were naked, afraid, ashamed of themselves. And that is a gift from God. You do something wrong. I don't want the cultural feedback on myself because I behave like this. I wouldn't want it. So therefore, I'm not going to do it. It's a blessing. It's a curb for culture. And it appears that it's lifting and it's not being helped by Adidas, who's trying to do everything to tear down any cultural norms and biblical norms. They said, it's important to normalize the human body. You know, it's only in the world of Twitter can that type of argumentation gain any traction. And slogan, we've just got to realize our bodies, man, it's just natural. Nobody's arguing. This is a Mott and Bailey. That's what, Jimmy, we got a Mott and Bailey here.
We got one.
I think so. The Mott is the castle, the fortress, the statement that everybody agrees on. The human body is natural. Okay, there you go. Now, they take that truth that we all share, they bring it out into the Bailey marketplace, and it turns into, therefore, don't wear clothing. Wait, and then you go, hey, no, we should be wearing clothing and covering up. There should be shame. There's a biblical reason for this. They run back to the Mott and go, well, don't you think the human body is natural? Oh, the old Mott and Bailey. Oh, have you ever seen it more clearly than that? Modesty, this is Carl Trueman now, in an odd inversion is now seen as shameful, unnatural, and a stigma, no less. So what used to be shameful isn't, but if you say, in essence, shame on you, that's shameful. That's the shame. If you want to maintain any of the norms that our culture has possessed now for centuries, millennia, then you're the one who should be ashamed. Wow, how the tables have turned. One only has to listen to politicians to see this in action, writes Truman, where once the phrase expletive deleted in the transcripts of the Watergate tapes hurt Richard Nixon, the use of obscenities and crudities is now the hallmark of many leading figures, including the current president and his predecessor. That's true. I'll never forget. I just remember this is years ago. I believe it was the Health Act. It was Obamacare that was getting passed, and Joe Biden, caught on tape, dropped the F-bomb into the president's ear as he walked to the podium to announce it. Whoa. No shame. No, that's fine. No, it's fine. Yeah. Come on. Don't you like free speech? There you go. Okay. There it is. Right. There's another Mott and Bailey. We all love the idea of free speech. Therefore, it's perfectly swell if presidents drop the F-bomb. Well, no, hold on a second here. They have the right to do that, but they shouldn't be doing that. Don't you believe in free speech? Oh, the Mott and Bailey. This is Carl Trueman again. Modesty toward the body is simply one more casualty of a culture that is losing shame. Who benefits from this abandonment of modesty? The answer is nobody, certainly not women, and it's certainly not going to be children. The loss of modesty seems to have fueled nothing but the further sexualization and objectification of the female body. How naive. Yes, it'll be liberating for women to run around at the beach like they're in France. It'll be liberating. As every single man on the beach goes, yeah, liberating. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, it's liberating. Got to liberate the women. How naive is this? It's so unbiblical. Nor does the loss of modesty liberate children. Today, our billboards, store windows contain images that would have been considered soft porn in the recent past. You know, I have observed that too. You go walk through the mall and, whoa, what? Unbelievable. And the kids are seeing these images constantly, and a lot more of them. They're shoving these into our children's line of vision. It merely confuses and corrupts them. This is our world. And I'm just wondering, speculating a wee bit, but that's what social studies are, that maybe the reason Gen Zers embrace failure is because there's no shame in it. No embarrassment. There's just nothing wrong with it. And so, whatever. Yeah, we lost the game 74-0. Are we going to go to Dairy Queen so I can show people my ribbon? Perhaps there is a connection. Now, the tricky part, of course, is how do you get shame back into a culture? I don't think the answer is by telling them shame on you. I don't think that. It just should be a natural response based on morals and values of a culture, of a family, of a church community, of a neighborhood. So what is it going to take for people to have more biblical values? Don't need a social studies book to answer that question. People need to be regenerated. They need the gospel. If you just go bonkers at virtually everything you see in this world, which is indeed bonkers, that should motivate us not to be defeatist, not to break laws, but to witness to people, because that is the only thing that has any potential to pull this society out of its current cultural swamp. This is Wretched Radio. What you're watching is a snippet. If you would like to watch the entire episode, just visit wretched.org.
Detective Friel, can you tell us what's happening here?
Yeah, what's happening here is a clear demonstration of the noetic effect of the fall. Genesis 2, Paul elaborates in Romans chapter 3. Jeremiah tells us that everybody's heart is deceitful and wicked. What's going on here? Sin.
Are you confident that these thieves will be brought to justice?
4 words: great white throne judgment.